Good morning, students. In the last video class, we know about financial accounting introduction. In this class, we will learn the continuation topic, that is financial accounting principles, how to write, on what basis we have to write journal entries, principles and concepts, and types of accounts, that is classification of accounts, and at the same time rules, accounting rules, that we will learn through this video lesson. So let us see one by one. So first of all, let us see accounting principles. Here, without accounting principles, we don't have any journal entries or accounting. So here, accounting principles is classified into two types. One is accounting concepts, another one is accounting conventions. So accounting concepts, so the concept is to be taken as it is. So some assumption we have to take. So that is concept. Convention is nothing but tradition. The tradition we have to follow while preparing accounting records. So the concept here, the concepts also here classified into two type. The accounting concepts are classified as follows, that is business entity concept, dual aspect concept, going concern concept, cost concept, money measurement concept, accounting period concept, realization concept, objective concept. So these are the concepts while we are recording transactions in the books of accounts. So whereas accounting conventions, the traditions, the that is convention of consistency, convention of full disclosure, convention of conservation, convention of materiality. So let us see one by one. Here accounting principles are classified into two. One is accounting concepts, another one is accounting conventions, another one is accounting conventions. So these are the two. Let us see one by one. So first one, business under concepts, business entity concept. This business entity concept is taken as business concept. Business entity concept implies that a business unit is regarded as a separate and distinct from the persons who supply the capital to it. All the business transactions are recorded in the books of business, since business is kept separate from the proprietor. What does it mean? Here the business and the business entity is treated as separately. So the person who is giving capital to the firm, the person will be treated as a separate person. In the same way, the business unit is also treated separate a unit entity. So that's why here who are establishing business, you can say proprietor may establish the business. So the proprietor is differ from business entity. So that is the concept, because the business person, the proprietor, may have personal transactions also, but whereas we will see business transactions is separate. So whatever the business transactions we have, those transactions only recorded in the books of accounts, not the proprietor's personal transactions. So that's why you have to take into consideration only business entity transactions are to be recorded in the books of accounts. So that's why business entity is separate from the business person or tradesman or investor. Right, let us see next one, a dual aspect concept. Dual aspect concept, what does it mean? This is the basic concept of accounting. Idea of a double entry system is fundamental to the accounting theory. Every financial transaction involve twofold aspect, as building the benefit and giving the death of benefit. Every business transaction has dual aspect. So here in this case we will see all the business transactions. If you take one transaction, in that transaction one transaction has two aspects, that is giving aspect and receiving aspect. These are the two aspects. So generally you can say in commerce terminology a debit aspect and credit aspect, So one is giving aspect, another one is receiving aspect. So let us take one example here. When we are selling goods to the other person, so that is means we are selling goods to the other person, at the same time we are receiving cash, so goods are going outside and cash is coming inside. So these two aspects are to be recorded in the books of accounts. So the transaction is only one, that is the sale of goods. The transaction is sale of goods, but here we have two aspects, giving aspect and receiving aspect. So one is giving goods to the other person, another one is receiving cash from other person. So these are the two aspects. So these two aspects are to be recorded in the books of accounts. That is the main theme of double entry system. Of course we may have according to the nature. So here we may have classification. So of course we will see in further PPTs. So that we have three types of accounts, that is personal accounts, real accounts and nominal accounts. These are the three types of accounts we have. So whatever the type of account, if there is a transaction, in that transaction two aspects are to be recorded in the books of accounts. That is the concept. So twofold aspect. So this twofold aspect is to be recorded in the books of account. So that's why this concept is known as dual aspect concept and basic concept. Okay, right? I think you got the point, right? Next one, going concern concept. According to the concept, it is assumed that the business will continue fairly a long time to commit profit. All transactions are recorded from this point of view. In other words, the assets of business are valued on going concern value and not on realizable value. So the basic objective of business entity is to earn profit. To earn profit, the business is established. At the same time, the business will continue for a long time. So when we are establishing a business unit, we will assume that business entity will continue for a long time, not for today and tomorrow. It will be closed. So that's why going concern concept is the concept, whatever the business entity we are establishing, that business entity will continue for long time. So that's why that is the concept. So whatever the transactions we have to record in the books of accounts. So all the transactions are recorded on going concern value, not on realizable value. Okay, next we will see money measurement concept. The name itself indicates accounting records only monetary transactions. The transactions which cannot be expressed in terms of money do not find place in the books of accounts. So the name itself indicates, what indicates? Money measurement concept. So whatever the transactions we have, those transactions are to be measured in terms of money. Those transactions are to be recorded in the books of accounts. Do we have non-monetary transactions also? Yes, we have non-monetary transactions also. So only monetary transactions are to be recorded in the books of accounts. Non-monetary transactions are not to be recorded in the books of accounts. So that's why there is no place to record non-monetary transactions in the books of accounts. Only monetary transactions are recorded in the books of accounts. That is a concept of money measurement concept. Of course, in business transactions we have every day we may have numerous transactions. In those, whatever the transaction we can measure in terms of money, those transactions are to be recorded in the books of accounts. That is a concept of money measurement concept. Okay, right. Next, cost concept. According to this concept, an asset is recorded in the books of accounts at the price paid to acquire it. Assets are not valued at market prices because these values keep on changing from time to time. Cost concept. So, what says this concept? Under this concept, to acquire, of course, here whatever the cost we have, only according to that we have to write. Here sometimes market prices may be influenced, so we do not take market prices, we have to take only cost concepts. So, whatever the expenditure we done, whatever the incomes we received, so according to that only we have to record. So, whatever the cost we expended, it is not to be compared with the market prices, So, that is why whatever we did, whatever we done, so that only is to be recorded in the books of accounts, that is cost concept, right. Let us see the next one, accounting period concept. Generally, business concern adopt 12 months period for measuring the income of the concern. This time interval is called as accounting period. At the end of each accounting period, an income and expenditure account and a balance sheet are prepared. The income and expenditure account disclose the income or loss sustained by the business, during the accounting period. Similarly, the balance sheet reveals the financial position of the business on the last day of the accounting period. So, the concept is accounting period concept. Accounting period means here whatever the accounts we have for that period. Here generally we can take the period means 12 months period. So, in a calendar year we have a 12 months period. So, that is why in the same sense here also we have 12 months. 12 months means here do we follow calendar year, academic year and financial year. So, we have to follow here financial year. So, financial year commences from April 1st and ends with March 31st in the next year, March 1st in the next year. So, whatever the 12 months period is commenced with April 1st present year and closed with or ended with the March 31st to the next following year. Those period is known as accounting period. Generally, the profit is to be calculated based on the period. So, during the year how much profit we got, how much loss we got, that is to be calculated. So, that is why accounting period concept conveys as here 12 months period is taken for measuring the income of the concern. So, during that year the income or expenditure, that is to be known, whatever the income we received, whatever the expenditure we expended. At the same time, balance sheet is also prepared. So, balance sheet, why balance sheet is prepared? In balance sheet we have assets and liabilities. Left side part known as liabilities part, right side part known as assets part. So, this left side part and right side part will be equal. So, that is why this left side and right side part means liabilities and assets will known as the financial position. This financial position of the concern known as during the period. So, of course, we do not prepare during the period, but at the end of the period, certain particular date, at that time we prepare financial position. At that time we may see the financial position, whatever the liabilities we have, whatever the assets we have, that we can see in balance sheet. So, here during the accounting period we prepare. If it is trading account, trading concern, trading account and profit and loss account we will prepare. So, whereas if it is non-profit organization, during that year we prepare income and expenditure account. So, during that period how much we have income, how much we have profit, that we see. So, to know the profitability, if it is profit objective organization, profit is to be known. If it is non-profit, what is the surplus, what is the deficit, that we will know. So, of course, whatever the type of organization, we will prepare balance sheet. So, this balance sheet conveys us financial position. The financial position may be during that year. So, this is accounting period. Okay. Next, realization concept. Realization concept. This concept emphasizes that profit should be considered when realized. When realized, it is not always easy to determine when the profit realized. In other words, sales are affected, profit will be recognized. So, after realization only we have to take into consideration. So, that is why whatever the profit we have, that profit is to be realized. So, without realizing we do not write any profit in the books. So, that is why when profit is when here I have given one thing, that is it is not always easy to determine when the profit is realized. In other words, when sales are affected, profit will be recognized. So, of course, we may sold out goods, but profit may be recognized, may not be recognized. So, after realizing the sales value only, the profit will be recognized. So, that is the concept of realization profit. Generally, we may expect more than the profit, generally. So, whatever the stock we have, that will be sold out in near future, we may get a profit, that is not to be recorded in the books of accounts. So, just whatever the sales we done, whatever the profit we have, so actual price, actual profit, actual realized values we have to take. So, that is the concept of realization concept. So, next one, objectives concept. This concept implies that all accounting transactions should be evidenced, and supported by business document, that is invoices, vouchers or other documents. The evidence substantiating the business transactions should be objective, that is free from bias, the accountant or others. In other words, we can say there is no place fictitious transactions in the accounting records. The supporting evidence should be objective, capable of verification by auditors. So, the objective, so the transactions are recorded in the books of accounts. So, whatever the transactions we recorded in the books of accounts, for that we should have an evidence. That means, without evidence we do not write any transactions. So, with the help of evidence only we have to record all the transactions. So, the evidence here we may take as the document, invoice, receipt, vouchers. So, whatever the evidence, whatever the paper we have, whatever the evidence we have, with that evidence only we have to record. So, if it is recorded in the books of accounts, then for that transaction we do have an evidence, So, definitely without evidence we do not write anything. If you write anything, the writers, the bookkeepers, the accountant or concerning authorities here treated as some bias will be taken place, do not write any fictitious transactions, transactions. So that's why only evidenced transactions are to be recorded. So first transaction, what we said, monetary transactions are to be recorded. Monetary transactions, those monetary transactions also should be evidenced. The evidence may be invoice, voucher, document, so receipt. So like that we have to take the evidence. So without evidence, don't write in the books of accounts. So for that, the accountant has to keep an evidence for each and every transaction. So this is objective transaction. So next category, that is, so let us see what transactions we have recorded. So we see one more time we will remind. So accounting principles are classified into two categories, that is accounting concepts and accounting conventions. So the concepts, business entity concept, that is here the business is different from the proprietor. So that is the concept. Dual aspect concept. So every transaction will have two aspects. These two aspects are to be recorded in the books of accounts. So that's why that is dual aspect concept. Going concern. So whatever the business is established, that business will be continued for a lifelong time. So cost concept. Whatever the cost we done, that is to be recorded. Money measurement. Money measurement means, so whatever the transaction is done, that is to be measured in the terms of money. That is money measurement concept. So accounting period concept. So here we have to take one accounting period, that is financial year. So financial year means, so a year which starts from April 1st and ends with the following year, that is 31st March, that is financial year. So here generally in the accounting purpose we have to take financial year. So realization concept means, so when we actually realize, though, that is to be taken into consideration. Objective means, here evidenced transactions are to be recorded. So these are the accounting concepts. Next we will see accounting concepts, conventions. Accounting conventions. So let us see first one, that is convention of consistency. Accounting rules, practices and conventions should be continuously observed and applied. That is, they should not be changed from one year to another. The business concern has to follow a set of accounting procedures uniformly while drawing up list of assets and liabilities, depreciation, stock valuation, etc. In exchange, if exchange becomes necessary, its effect should be clearly stated in the financial statements. So the consistency, the convention of consistency conveys us accounting rules and the practices and the conventions, whatever we are following year by year, that is to be consistency. Means we have to follow same rules and principles regularly. Don't change year to year. So we may follow in 1 year one rules, we may follow the another year, that is may one more system. So let us take one example. So generally double entry system is accepted by the Companies Act. So in a year we may follow double entry system, in another year we may follow single entry system. So that is not the condition. So the convention of consistency conveys us whatever the system we have to follow the same system. If there is any need to change, that is to be clearly stated in the financial statements. So regarding to assets, regarding to depreciation, regarding to liabilities, regarding to the practices, regarding to the rules, so whatever the rules and practices we have, that is to be followed continuously. So that is here convention of consistency. Next one, convention of full disclosure. Convention of full disclosure. Accounting reports must be prepared and presented in such a manner that they disclose fully and fairly the information they may purport to represent. Full disclosure does not mean the disclosure of every minute information of the financial statement. Full disclosure means whatever the transactions we did during the year, those transactions are to be disclosed. Those transactions are to be disclosed. Don't kept under secret. So whatever the transactions we have, whatever we did, those information, those accounting information is to be disclosed at the end of the year. At the end of the year means in financial statements. So financial statement conveys all the accounting information. Don't kept under secret. So this is convention of full disclosure. Next one, convention of conservation. There is a convention of caution or playing safe and is adhered to which preparing financial accounting statements in the business world fluctuations and uncertainties are not uncommon. Here the accountants follow the rule anticipate no profit but provide for all possible losses an account of this stock is valued at cost price or market price, whichever is less. Here this convention conveys us. So we have to follow, we don't follow market fluctuations, uncertainties. So that is common. Outside market fluctuations common, uncertainty is common. So that's why don't follow market fluctuations. So we have to follow our bookkeeping details. So here the accountants follow the rule anticipate no profit but provide all possible losses. An account of this stock is valued at a cost price or market price, whichever is less. So in stock valuation we have to follow one method, that is market price or cost price. So whichever is less, which one is the less, that is to be followed, that is the convention of conservation. So next one more, that is convention of materiality. According to this convention, the accountant should attach importance to material details and ignore insignificant details. Only material facts should be disclosed. So right here accountant has to follow just now we discussed in the concepts, evidenced transactions only is to be recorded, that is objective concept. So in that we discussed. So here what we are saying, importance to material detail and ignore insignificant details. If there is any insignificant details we have, that is to be ignored, because all the sufficient data, significant details are to be disclosed with the accounting information. So that's why only material facts, factual data is to be disclosed. So that is the concept and convention of materiality. Okay. Right. So with this conventions are closed. Next, accounting process or cycle. So accounting process is like this. So recording of monetary transactions in the journal, recording all the monetary transactions. Here you have to remind monetary transactions, non-monetary transactions. Only monetary transactions are recorded in the journal. Journal is the first book. So of course the journal and ledgers will be learned in the next slides. So recording of monetary transactions in the journal is the first step in accounting process. So with the help of some accounting principles we have, based on that, according to the nature of transaction, we have to follow that transactions are to be recorded in the journal. So that is the first step. So after recording journal entries in the books of accounts, next is posting into concerned ledgers. Whatever the transactions we recorded in the journal, from that the concerned ledger, so we need summary of transactions. So we have to see separately according to the nature of the transaction. So all the liabilities and all the assets. So in assets also, in the liabilities also, separately we have to know, because at the end of the period, what is assets, what are the liabilities we have, what are the profit we have to see. So that's why we have to know the summary of the activity, the summary of the transaction. So that's why we have to post into concerned ledgers, that is the second step. So after posting, then balancing all the accounts. After completing posting, we have to balance all the accounts. Here ledger means it's a bunch of accounts. Account means summary of the transactions. So here giving aspects and receiving aspects are to be recorded, so that we discussed in the earlier also. So after balancing all the accounts, you have to prepare trial balance. So with the help of accounts, we have to prepare trial balance. So why we have to prepare trial balance? Here the trial balance gives us accuracy. When we are recording transactions, we followed rules, regulations actually. So we did any mistakes while recording transactions, that we have to check. So to know the arithmetic accuracy, you have to prepare trial balance. Trial balance is a statement. Here we have giving aspect and receiving aspect, that is debit and credit columns. So then ultimately, if we are taking one transaction, in one transaction there are two aspects. Those two aspects are to be equal. At the same time, the overall transactions will be taken. All the transactions will be equal. All the receiving aspects and giving aspects will be equal. Okay. Next, with the help of trial balance, we prepare final accounts. Here the final accounts, if it is business transaction, business organization, here trading account, a profit and loss account, and a balance sheet will be prepared. If it is non-profit organization, during the year, receipts and payments account, income and expenditure account, and a balance sheet is prepared. So like that, if it is production unit, production account, trading account, profit and loss account, and a balance sheet, that is prepared, right? So after completing final accounts, whatever the closing balances we have, those closing balances are to be transferred to the next year, that is next. Journal. Here you see journal is a daily record. It is a book of original entry in which all transactions are recorded as entries, right? The transactions are recorded under the double entry system. Of course, in some time single entry system also followed, but generally it is understood a double entry system is to be followed. Okay. Next, journal entries posted into concerned ledgers. So after completing writing journal entries, those journal entries are to be posted into concerned ledgers. The process of recording transactions in the journal is known as journalizing. Whatever the posting is there, whatever the process of recording transactions in the journal process, that process, whatever the transactions we are recording in the journal, that is known as journalizing. So after journalizing, the transactions is to be posted into concern ledger, that is posting entries into concern ledgers will be known as. So here we see the pro forma of journal. Here we have 5 columns. In first column, that is date. Here first column date. Here we write year, month and date. Particulars, here under particulars we write 2 aspects, that is receiving aspect and giving aspect. These 2 aspects are recorded as journal entry. Below that we write some simple description, that is known as narration. So each and every transaction will have a partition. That is each and every journal entry will have a partition. Partition means a separate line will have separate line divided each and every transaction. Next we see ledger folio. Ledger folio is nothing but page number. Here debit rupees, how much debit rupees and how much credit rupees. So debit rupees, credit rupees is nothing but giving aspect and receiving aspect. So these are the columns where we see in the journal. So in the journal we have date, particulars, ledger folio, debit rupees and credit rupees. These are the 5 columns we observe in the journal. So this is the regular activity. That regular activity is done by bookkeeper. The bookkeeper has to record the journal entries in the books of in the journal by using certain principles. So this is journal, right? Accounts classification. Here there are 2 types of accounts, that is personal accounts and impersonal accounts. Accounts which relate to persons or firms with whom the trader deals, those accounts known as personal accounts. Example: customers, suppliers, money lenders, banks and the owners, and name the person or the firm. The person or the firm comes under this category. The other one is impersonal accounts. Impersonal accounts, we have 2 types of classification: real accounts and nominal accounts. So real accounts known as property or assets accounts. So the accounts of assets and properties in which the trader deals. So the trader, the business organization deals with property and assets. Those transactions comes under real accounts. Example: land, buildings, furniture. So like that, whatever the assets we have, those assets are to be recorded, though assets transactions recorded with the help of real accounts. Nominal accounts, here the accounts of incomes, expenses, gains and losses. So nominal accounts are treated all the expenses, incomes, gains and losses and recorded under the nominal accounts. Here we have example: wages paid, salaries paid, commission received, rent received, purchase, sales. So like that we have. So these are the classification. So next we see rules to write journal entries. So journal entries is to be recorded in the journal based on the rules, based on the nature of the accounts. So just now we discussed all the personal accounts known as the name, the person or firm known as. So here all the personal accounts transactions are recorded based on this principle. So debit the receiver, credit the giver. We have to debit the receiver. Receiver means the sense who are receiving from us. From us means the trader. That is debit. Credit means the giver, the person or firm who are giving to us, that is to be recorded under credit. So, here debit is one aspect, credit is another aspect. So, that is why debit the receiver, credit the giver. These two aspects are to be concerned under personal accounts. Next one, real accounts. This real accounts known as property or assets account. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Whatever the property is coming inside, that is to be debited. Whatever the property is going outside, that is to be credited. Going outside, coming inside in the sense from our business organization, whatever the assets is going outside, that is to be credited. Whatever the assets coming inside, that is to be debited. Next, last one, nominal accounts. Debit all the expenses and losses, credit all the incomes and gains. So, all the expenditure and losses are to be debited, all the incomes and gains are to be credited. So, these are the principles. So, we have one more time again we have to remind. So, if it is personal accounts, what is to be debited? Receiver is to be debited and giver is to be credited. Whereas in real accounts, what is coming inside, that is to be debited, what is going outside, that is to be credited. In case of nominal accounts, all the expenses and losses is to be debited, all the incomes and gains is to be credited. So, these are the rules are to be followed while recording transactions, while recording journal entries in the books of accounts. This is the duty of bookkeeper. The bookkeeper has to see to record all the transactions by following principles of these accounts. Okay, right? Thank you students. In the next video lesson we will continue what is the ledger, how to write journal entries by using these 3 accounting principles, that is okay, we will see in the next class.